good morning. Susan Collins of Maine is perhaps the first person to say that she doesn't believe that Brett Kavanaugh was the man who sexually assaulted Christine Blasey Ford 37 years ago. This, of course, after Kavanaugh was confirmed.
So, given the decision you made, do you not believe her?
Let me say this. First of all, I found Dr. Ford's testimony to be heart-wrenching, painful, compelling, and I believe that she believes what she testified to. I don't think she was coming forth with a political motive, although I do not think that she was treated well by those who breached her confidence. But we also had a case where Judge Kavanaugh came forward and said, I'm 100% certain that this did not happen. So here you have two people who are each 100% certain of what they're saying under pain of perjury. So then I had to look at the other evidence and was there corroborating evidence, and that's why I pushed hard for the FBI to do a supplemental background investigation.
So, do you still think it is possible that he did it? You just don't have the proof to back that up?
I do not believe that Brett Kavanaugh was her assailant. So I do believe that she was assaulted. I don't know by whom, and I'm not certain when, but I do not believe that he was the assailant.
And so people watching you, hearing you say that, you understand that they'll think that you're saying you don't believe her, that she, I know you say that she believes that he was, but maybe she was wrong. But if she said that under oath and he said that under oath, you made a decision that he said is more valid than what she said.
In this country, we have a presumption of innocence. And as a matter of fairness, what I decided to use as a standard was the question of, is it more likely than not that Brett Kavanaugh assaulted Christine Ford? And there was no corroborating evidence that he did so. Each of the people that Professor Ford said was present that night have testified under oath, both to the committee through the declarations that they submitted and to the FBI now, that they have no memory of this happening, and that includes Dr. Ford's best friend.
So, and I'm sure you've heard this from people who have experienced these assaults, that it is possible, and it has happened before, that the person who is the victim remembers very clearly because they were assaulted. And especially when you're talking about 36 years ago, it's not unusual for people who were apparently at a party as teenagers, they just don't remember it because it was unremarkable. Is that possible?
I really don't think that is possible. When Christine Ford testified that she ran down the stairs and out the door, surely her best friend who was there would have followed her and asked her what was wrong. Nobody's come forward to say, I'm the one who gave you a ride home, or I was the other person at the party. I'm not saying that she was not sexually assaulted. I believe that she was, and that horrible experience has upended her life. But it does not mean that Brett Kavanaugh was her assailant.
So you mentioned, what you just said is also something that you said on the Senate floor, that there was no corroborating witness or somebody to say, I drove her home or I saw her leave. And President Trump said virtually the same thing the other night, that she doesn't remember key details about where the party was and how she got home. You said that when he was talking about that, he was playing wrong. Tell me what the difference is.
I think there's a big difference.
Yeah.
I felt that the president was not respectful to Dr. Ford. I have always been respectful toward her. I'm the one who pushed for a hearing where she could, once her identity was compromised, which was a terrible thing, and not what she wanted. But once that happened and she was willing to come forward, I said she should be given.
So it was the president's tone.
It
more
was
than the words.
his tone, but also he's not involved in the advice and consent constitutional duty. So I believe he should have said nothing.
One of the major concerns that came up after the hearing was Brett Kavanaugh's temperament. And I want you to listen to what your fellow Republican Lisa Murkowski had to say about that temperament in a floor speech on Friday night.
After the hearing that we all watched last Thursday, it became clear to me, or was becoming clearer, that appearance of impropriety has become unavoidable.
She was giving voice to the fact that Kavanaugh was outwardly partisan, talking about the Clintons in his testimony. Really went after one of your colleagues, Amy Klobuchar, which he apologized for later. But do you have any concerns at all about Brett Kavanaugh's temperament?
Well, I put myself in his shoes. He is coming forth and answering an allegation that includes that he was involved in gang raping and doping girls. I mean, that is so devastating. And I think he reacted with anger and anguish as a father of two young girls, a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. I did believe that he should not have taken the shot at the Clintons, and that in his questioning with certain senators and responding to their questioners, particularly Amy Klobuchar, that he stepped over the line.
I want to ask you, and you know this because you're witnessing this happening at your home, at your offices in Washington and in Maine, women saying that you betrayed women all across the country. Planned Parenthood gave you an award last November for your work on protecting reproductive rights. Here's what their political arm had to say about your vote. This isn't just another vote. Senator Collins has made it clear that she can no longer call herself a woman's rights
you
champion.
heard the main point of this vlog.
Disbelieve, disrespect, and even mock survivors. We deserve better.
She says she doesn't
First of all, I have
believe
never disregarded,
that it was Brett Kavanaugh. I personally think that she should have punted on answering the question.
Untrue. And
But she
I
went
would
there.
note that Planned Parenthood